Hello, I'm Harley Schlanger from the Schiller Institute. It's April 22nd, 2020, and unlike we do every other week, we are not going to be doing an interview with Helga Zepp-LaRouche today. She is preparing for a conference this weekend, and I'm going to take a few minutes to encourage you to join us for this conference, as we clearly are facing a moment in human history where your creative activity and your voice is important because you can now play a role in history. There's no doubt that we're at a turning point. The combined effects of the coronavirus pandemic and the economic crash are putting us in uncharted waters. And we're seeing policies that are being adopted, which are the exact opposite of what should be done, in particular with the economy, with the bailouts, with the increasing volume of funds pumped by the Federal Reserve. But even more dangerous, as Helga pointed out in our discussion last week, is the raving anti China hysteria that's coming from the very people who brought Russiagate and the very people who are responsible for the economic crisis. In particular, we've identified the Henry Jackson Society and the Atlantic Council that had a conference 2 days ago to discuss why we're at war with China and why we're losing, and calling on the Western alliance to upgrade its activity to defeat China. Instead, we should be cooperating. We should be raising our sights as well as our hearts to embrace mankind as we face this crisis and to cooperate to come up with solutions. Now, we're going to be presenting a conference this weekend, April 25th and 26th, Saturday and Sunday, which is open to you. And in fact, if you want to participate through questions and other ways, you can register for it at the schillerinstitute.org website. But let me give you a sense of the program so that you can see what we'll be discussing and the importance. It's going to be online, by the way, so that it'll be accessible to all of you who have access to the internet. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the United States. The first panel will be titled The Urgent Need to Replace Geopolitics with a New Paradigm in International Relations. This will take up the challenge that was offered by Lyndon LaRouche more than a decade ago, that for the four great powers, Russia, China, India, and the United States, to meet to discuss a new paradigm, including a new Bretton Woods, and including cooperation with LaRouche's four laws to allow for a global economic revitalization. Cooperation, not confrontation, not geopolitics, which was a British invention. We have to end the regime change coups, end the endless wars, and instead work together. This was President Trump's stated intention when he was elected. This is why he was targeted with Russiagate, and why today there's a concerted effort from both parties, from the intelligence community and from the media, to turn President Trump against China and against Xi Jinping. So we'll be discussing how we can overcome geopolitics as the first panel. Then at 3 p.m., we'll have a panel for a better understanding of how our universe functions. This is crucial because we've seen a reverse in the areas of scientific research in many cases, in the case of the so-called green policy, an anti-scientific approach, which is designed, again, to protect the financial system, but not to allow for the advances of the human race. And so we'll be taking up questions from figures such as Kepler and Leibniz, Einstein, Vernadsky. What is real science? And what is the relationship of man to the universe? The non-living to the living, and the living to the noosphere, that is the realm of human creativity. On Sunday at 11 a.m., we'll have probably one of the more important panels we've ever had. Creativity as the distinctive characteristic of human culture, the need for a classical renaissance. If you look at all the scenario mongering and the silliness that's coming out, which is largely not unexpected given the dumbing down of the population and also the real stress and anxiety that people are facing as we see the civilization as we know it collapsing. People have to have something deeper to fall back on to come up with solutions. And one of the things we'll do is take a look at what it was that allowed the Renaissance to occur. The handfuls of individuals, scientists, artists, people who took a look at man's relationship to the universe and made advances through creative discovery. At a moment of profound despair, because the Renaissance came after the Black Plague had swept through Europe in the middle of the 14th century, wiping out a third to a half of the population in the whole continent. So today, as we face similar crises, we can't go back to normal because business as usual is what got us into this crisis. So by changing the way man looks at himself, that we look at each other, that we look at other nations, that we embody the principle of Schiller, that one must be a patriot of his own country, but at the same time a world citizen. That if we look at that expression through creativity and music and art, we can find a better angel of ourselves so that we can work to solve these problems. And the final panel will be at 3 p.m. on Sunday, titled The Science of Physical Economy. This is LaRouche's special field. Lyndon LaRouche was a pioneer in this whole idea of physical economy. And this it combines science, it combines history, combines culture, psychology, you might say. How it is that we can build an economy that reflects what we are as human beings. So this is an extremely exciting conference. We'll have speakers from all over the world. We hope to have participants from all over the world. And I expect that many of you will take the time to overcome your gloom, your moping, your frustration, your anger, and turn on your mind and listen to the discussion, participate if you can, and to do that you need to register. So go to the Schiller Institute webpage and register so you can participate. And this will be this weekend, April 25th and 26th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States. So that will be 4 p.m. In Europe. So thanks for joining with me. I'll be back next week with Mrs. LaRouche, but I expect to see you and see you participating this weekend in our conference. Thanks for joining me. Bye.